Let's dive into onboarding your GitHub project to Cloudzilla, step by step. To get started, you'll choose one of three paths. Import your GitHub repo, start with a pre-built template, or add a database. I'll go with the GitHub repo option since I already have code ready to deploy. If you don't, starting with a template is a great way to experiment. Next, let's connect your GitHub account. Cloudzilla uses GitHub Actions to build your project, keeping all your build logs and configs within your account. Now I'll select my repository. Cloudzilla automatically detects your framework, whether it's Node, React, Next.js, or even a custom Docker file. If your framework isn't detected, you'll get a warning. You can fix this by choosing a different project with a supported framework or by making your own Docker file for your project, which documents which port is exposed. With the repo linked, it's time to configure your project. This step is straightforward, but pay attention to the details. First, select a workspace. Think of it like a folder for organizing your projects. Then, choose the branch to deploy, like main for production or develop for staging. Next, configure the port. For Node, it's usually 3000 by default. If your app uses a custom port, be sure to set it here to match. Cloudzilla autofills the build and start commands for most frameworks. For example, npm run build for React or npm start for Node. If your app doesn't need a build step, just leave it blank. Now let's add environment variables. These are critical for some apps, things like API keys or database URLs. Variables are securely stored and applied during both build and runtime phases. And if you ever need to update them, you can do it directly in your GitHub repo settings. With the app configured, choose a deployment region. For this demo, I'm selecting North America. There is no need to select locations. Cloudzilla's Adaptive Edge engine will dynamically adjust data center placement to run your code in the most cost-effective location, closest to your users. Now we hit deploy. Behind the scenes, Cloudzilla containerizes your app using Docker and runs it on any cloud available in the regions you've selected. Also, all logs are visible in GitHub, so you can debug issues directly if something goes wrong. Troubleshooting is simple. If your app doesn't start, check the container logs. For example, missing environment variables or build errors can be easily identified and fixed. Once the build completes, your app is live. Here's your custom URL. SSL certificates are automatically managed with Let's Encrypt. And that's it. In minutes, your projects are running at the highest performance and in the lowest cost cloud provider in any region in the world.